Coming up next on BG24 Sports, the men's and women's basketball teams hit the road this weekend, and one coach walked away with a milestone win.
And there's a new sport here on campus that is ranked nationally. We will have more on that later in the show.
And with all the Olympic coverage going on, we want to shed some light on our very own curling team here on campus. We'll have all this and more coming up on BG24 Sports.
It's un-Falcon believable coverage that you won't get anywhere else. This is BG24 Sports.
Welcome to BG24 Sports. I'm Adam King.
And I'm Katie Warnke.
The women's basketball team paid a visit to Eastern Michigan Eagles this weekend, and the beginning of the game was rough. The Falcons were 10-2 coming off the tip-off. Then Alexis Rogers took off, putting up a double-double with 13 points and 13 rebounds for the game. The Falcons went into the half with the lead, and Jillian Halfhill came in off the break with a deep three. The Falcons never looked back and left Ypsilanti with a win 61-56. The Falcons advanced to 21-3 for the season and 11-1 in the MAC.
The men's basketball team was hoping to end its three-game losing streak going into Saturday's game. The Falcons led most of the game, but the Ball State Cardinals were hitting behind the arch all night with 10 three-pointers keeping the game close. Fast forward to the fourth quarter, there were 44 seconds on the clock when Anthony Henderson made a layup, bringing the Falcons to lead 65-64. The Falcons would go on to win the match 66-64, and this game marked Coach Orr's 100th win with BG and his 200th career win overall.
Now, there are many ways to get involved with sports on campus, but one may come as a surprise. Reporter Jackie Elliott has more on BG's very own Quidditch team.
The game of Quidditch is inspired by the movie Harry Potter. At BGSU, it started with the BG Marauders. The meetings are held bi-weekly. The topics of the meetings may vary. There are Potter trivia nights and also craft nights. President Ashley Chapman says it's a fun way to meet new people.
For people to just hang out and talk about different interests. A lot of people like a lot of different shows or books, and you can find people here that you can connect with.
The Marauders are combined with members of the Quidditch team. Quidditch is a combination of different sports, like rugby and dodgeball, for example. The game is very physical.
The game and rules of Quidditch are the same as in Harry Potter. The only difference is there's no flying.
The goal of the game is to score the most points and also catch the snitch. Captain Katie Mulligan can't imagine her life without it.
I know, it's a lot of fun. I can't imagine my college career without it.
BGSU is the #2 team in the nation. Jackie Elliott reporting.
If you are interested in learning more about the team, check out their website at bgquidditch.wix.com, or you can find them on Facebook.
Now, taking it back to some weekend action, men's baseball went south to Nashville for a matchup with Belmont. Hitting the diamond on Friday, the team lost 2-1, unable to get the bats going, but Saturday was a different story. The guys cranked out 16 hits and took a dominant 8-3 win. Shortstop Brian Bean went 3 for 4 on the day, hitting in 2 runs for the Falcons and setting a career high with 6 total bases. Now, going into the rubber match Sunday, BG would give up 2 runs on errors, ultimately falling 3-1. The team will travel to Kentucky this weekend for a 3-game series against Murray State.
Women's softball also hit the road this weekend at the Panther Invitational. Traveling down to Atlanta, the ladies faced 4 teams in 2 days and came out of the series 1-2-1. Sunday, the Falcons recorded the tie against Tennessee Martin after coming back from a 2-0 deficit. The bats came out as Erica Stratton went 2 for 2 and Katie Yoho went 4 for 4. Stratton slammed a 3-run homer for her 3 RBIs and 2 runs on the day. BG went on to even it up at 6-6 for the tie, and now they sit at 1-6-1 on the season. The Falcons will be back on the diamond this weekend at the Ole Miss tournament.
And now for our BG24 Sports Athlete of the Week, who other than Ralph Freibergs?
Had to be Ralph's. He's currently playing in Sochi for Latvia, and he hit the ice for the first time in the games. He tallied an assist in the game Saturday against Sweden.
Freibergs is the only current NCAA Division I men's ice hockey player in Sochi and played during the International Ice Hockey Federation World Championships in 2013. Here at BG, the defenseman leads the position with 20 points, 2 goals, and 18 assists. This weekend, the women's track and field competed in the GVSU Big Meet that took place at Grand Valley State. The 1600 relay team was the fastest of 24 teams running in the event. The Falcons had the winning time of 3:49.32. With this win, BG broke the 3:50 mark for the first time this year. The Orange and Brown will take off 2 weeks before competing in the MAC Indoor Track and Field Championships February 28th at Kent State.
The Bowling Green gymnastics team had a doubleheader against Maryland and Yale this weekend, and the team was hoping to take home 2 W's. The Falcons traveled to College Park, Maryland, where they struggled early on the bars and on the beam, scoring just over 48 and 48 flat, respectively. It came down to the vault, where the Falcons were able to score big, splitting the meet with a win over Yale and a loss to Maryland. The team is now 6-5 overall and 3-1 in the MAC.
Now, the hockey team saw some conference action this weekend against Alaska Anchorage. Traveling over 3,000 miles, the team hit the ice Friday and Saturday in a series that would mix up the standings in the WCHA. Going into the weekend, both at fourth, BG skated to a 2-2 overtime tie Friday, where Cam Watala snagged his 4th goal on the year. Saturday, the Falcons would carry a 2-1 lead into the 3rd period until the Seawolves came back and scored 3 unanswered goals within a 2-minute, 26-second time span. The guys were unable to answer and fell 5-2. BG now sits at 13-13-6 on the year and remains at 4th, tied with Alaska and Michigan Tech in the WCHA.
This weekend, the Falcon tennis team beat Cleveland State 6-1, and history was made as senior Nikki Chiricosta tied the school record with her 89th singles win in her career. She won her first singles match by a score of 7-6, 6-1. The win improves the Falcons team record to 4-1 on the year, while the Vikings fall to 1-6. The Falcons will be in action next weekend in Cincinnati for 2 matches in just as many days, where they will face off against Xavier on Friday and the University of Cincinnati on Saturday.
Well, later in the show, we're going to be joined by 2 reporters for a panel, but this time we're going to switch things up for the panel and do something a little bit different. And reporter Gary Galbraith will have some of the players from the club baseball team to let people know how they can get involved with their upcoming season. But first, we'll send it over to reporter Claudia Seibert with some pro sports news. Claudia?
Yes, Adam, coming up we'll take a look at the NBA All-Star Game, and the NFL season may be over, but the league can't seem to stay out of the headlines. Plus, we saw the famed number 3 reemerge in NASCAR this weekend. See what happened at Daytona. All this and more when we come back. Welcome back to BG24 Sports. I'm Claudia Seibert. Let's take a look at what's happening this week in the world of professional sports. Last night in the NBA All-Star Game, the Eastern Conference ended a 3-game losing streak to the West in a 163-155 win. The East scored the last 10 points of the game after trailing by as many as 18. The game set multiple records, including the most total points in an All-Star game, and Carmelo Anthony recorded a record 8 3-pointers. Kyrie Irving was named the game's MVP after recording 31 points and 14 assists. In NASCAR news, the weekend saw the first appearance of the number 3 car since Dale Earnhardt's crash at Daytona in 2001. The driver of the car was 23-year-old Sprint Cup rookie Austin Dillon. Dillon has competed for the past 2 years in NASCAR's lower divisions and took the pole position as well as fans' hearts in the first race of the year. The Great American Race will take place on February 23rd at Daytona International Speedway. Though the NFL may be in their offseason, the players are still making headlines. Baltimore Ravens' Ray Rice and his fiancée were arrested and charged with simple assault this past weekend. The arrest took place after a physical altercation in an Atlantic City casino. The police report states that Rice and his fiancée struck each other with their hands, but no injuries were reported. Rice signed a 5-year, $35 million contract with the Ravens prior to the 2012 season. He's coming off his worst statistical year of his career, averaging just more than 3 yards a carry in 2013. Looking overseas, the U.S. women's hockey team defeated Sweden 6-1. The win advances the women's team to the gold medal game. They will face off against the winner of Canada and Switzerland. 6 different players scored for the U.S., who were up at one point in the game by a score of 5-0, and dominated the Swedes by limiting them to only 9 shots on goal. The gold medal game will be played on Thursday. Well, that's all the news I have for you right now. I'm going to send it back over to Adam and Katie at the desk.
Thanks, Claudia. Now, that women's hockey game, we found out today that they'll be playing Canada after the Canadians beat Switzerland 3-1. What are you thinking for that game?
It'll be an interesting game. I think when you get into women's hockey, styles make fights here. And with Canada, it's that big physical team, and the United States is going to have to use their speed and work from the outside in to really be effective against that big, tough physical team.
I agree, but I mean, 70 shots in that game. They held the Swedes to 9.
Yeah,
That's something.
And the one goal that the Swedes got was a deflection from a shot at the blue line, so it was really just a matter of chance. I mean, it really could have gone through that game and not given up anything.
I agree. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be a fun one to watch.
Absolutely.
Well, when we come back, Adam and I will sit down with a few reporters and discuss some Olympic scenarios to get their reactions. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to BG24 Sports. I'm joined right now by reporters Terry Lash and Claudia Seibert, and we're going to play a little Olympic-style game of Would You Rather. So the men's seedings have come out for the hockey tournament, and we now know where everybody's at and how the chips have fallen. But what I would like to know from you guys is if you could pick one player to be on your team from any Olympic squad, who would it be and why?
I would have to go with Jonathan Quick. I mean, we saw him in that outstanding game against Russia a few days ago. You stop Kovalchuk with those shootout goals. Totally Jonathan Quick. He's pulled through for the U.S.
If I'm starting with one guy on my team, it's got to be center Sidney Crosby of Team Canada and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Crosby is leading the league this year with 78 points. He's leading assists, 6 in scoring on a first-place Pittsburgh Penguins team. He's the LeBron James of hockey. He's the biggest face we've seen probably since Gretzky. He's the guy I want starting my team.
Those are all good picks and everything. I think I'm going to go personally with TJ Oshie. I mean, he was virtually, like unknown. He wasn't, a huge name like Crosby, but I do like what he said about that the heroes are the ones in the camo, and he's not a hero, and I really like that. So he seems like a class act, good guy, so I'm going to go with TJ Oshie.
Yeah, that was excellent. I think for me personally, I think when you start with a hockey team, you start with a goaltender. So for me, I want the best guy on the best team, and I'll take Henrik Lundqvist, the goalie for Sweden. He has single-handedly put that team on his back and taken them to the 1 seed in the tournament and really carried these guys to the success that they've had. I think without him, they have a lot of trouble. So let's move on from that then. We've seen a lot of new events coming in the Olympics this year, but personally with you guys, what would you like to try if you could try one event that comes from the Olympic Games?
Well, Adam, I've always wanted to try curling. No real reason. It just seems like an easy sport that on a Sunday afternoon you can just go out and have a curling outing with your friends. It doesn't seem like it'd be a high risk for injury or anything. So I'm going with curling.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with snowboarding. Everybody loves snowboarding. Like, it's so cool. Shaun White made it awesome. So I would love to try snowboarding.
I would totally go with ski jumping, although when I get up to that top of the hill, I wouldn't go down. If I could, I would like to try ski jumping.
How high up is that?
Oh, I don't know. I
Too
know
much.
that
Too much. Yes,
they
that's
can,
same here. Same
they
here.
can jump though, they can glide in the air for over a football field.
Yeah, too
That's
high.
crazy.
That's
Too much.
terrifying.
It looks
high.
cool,
It
but
does.
yeah, I'd be too
In
scared.
theory.
For me personally, I think it's one of the events that you can't really look past is the skeleton. These guys are crazy. It's basically the equivalent of finding the tallest, most slope hill in your community, strapping somebody to a cafeteria tray with duct tape and pushing them down. It's just crazy to me that these guys volunteer to do this. They're going to speeds up to and over 100 miles an hour, head first down an ice chute. That is insane. Now, with all the Olympic events going on, we've seen some absolutely incredible performances by some people. Who would you not want to compete against in the Olympics?
I would not go against Yevgeny Plushenko, the Russian figure skater. I know he did pull himself out of the Olympics after the team skating, but that man is awesome. I mean, he's 3 world championships. He's gotten 4 medals in the Olympics since 2002. He's like the 7-time Russian champion. He's just outstanding.
Yeah, I'm going back to figure skating as well. I would not want to go up to Japan, against, they had that 19-year-old, I'm not even going to try to say his name, I'll probably butcher it, but I mean, he set the record for the, the small, whatever it's called. But yeah, I would not want to go up against them. It's crazy.
Mine, I'm going to go with either of Sweden's cross-country skiing teams. Both men and women got gold yesterday, and it's unbelievable just watching them out there. They are absolute tanks. They just trek through the mountains and through the wooded areas, and I can barely stand on skis, and these people are just moving like they're sprinting through the snow. So I don't want to go against the Swedes in that event.
Yeah, and I want no part of anyone that does anything that has to do with the biathlon. Those people have it all. They have endurance. They're good with firearms. It's just a stay away from me. I think it's a ruthless combination I want no part of. But TJ Oshie is a close second because I have a feeling he just make me look silly on a regular basis. Now, the Winter Olympics are fun and everything, but I know especially here in Bowling Green, guys, it's getting cold. And I'm kind of ready for spring and baseball and everything that happens to go with it. But if you had your choice between the Winter Games or the Summer Games, let's say you could only go to one. Which one would you choose?
You know, I think I'm still gonna go with winter. You know, I'm sick of winter too. I'm ready for baseball to start, but like snowboarding is my thing. I love watching that, so I'm picking the Winter Olympics.
I'm going summer. I just love the warm weather. I like the events. You guys see basketball in the Summer Olympics, so Summer Olympics is where I want to be.
I would go with winter. I mean, skiing, snowboarding, figure skating, all of it.
Yeah, for me, it's winter games. I just love hockey, so I can sit there and watch hockey all day long and not have any problem with it at all.
Yeah, definitely. Well, when we come back, guys, we're going to sit down. Gary Galbraith is going to sit down with a few club baseball players and talk about their season and their upcoming trip to Florida. Stay with us.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Gary Galbraith, and I am joined by three club baseball members. We have Mark DeBow, Aaron Christie, and Billy Nowak. Now, my first question is, what is your role and responsibilities of the team, Billy?
Well, as president, I'm in charge of functioning the team so it runs like it should. I help with fundraising. I help with setting up practices, setting up games, talking with the National Club Baseball Association, and overall just making sure that the team runs as it should.
So you act like as if you're the coach?
You could say that. I try to involve myself with the play as much, since I am a player for the team as well. I try to play my position, but as well be a coach role for the team as needed.
Has there ever been any problems?
There has, like any team, you know, players, coach, or authoritative figures, you know, kind of go back and forth, but we've been able to work everything out and come to a solution.
Okay. Aaron Christie, Vice President, your role and responsibilities of the team?
Basically, my roles are to schedule games with other colleges, whether it's a club team or a varsity team. Like we play Bluffton, who's a varsity team. We play Tiffin, who's a varsity team. But then we play other teams like Eastern Michigan, who's a club team, and Washtenaw in Michigan, who's a club team. And then basically whatever Billy can't do, he hands off to me. So I cover what Billy can't do because he's a pretty busy guy.
Around how many games do you play a year?
Right now we have 30 scheduled. We're still trying to add a few more.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Next question is to you, Mark. Your role and responsibilities of the team?
Well, I'm the treasurer, so I basically just manage the team funds, whether it's funds from fundraising or player dues, or money from the school, SBC funding, and create a budget to cover the expenses like hotels and umpires and our Florida trip.
So how does it feel to be ranked 20th in the nation out of 200, 300 teams? That's pretty big, you know?
It's definitely something to be proud of from our past experiences and our hard work, but being 20th in the nation still shows to us that we have room for improvement and that every time we go out on the field, we got something to prove and something that we can get better at.
Are you excited about any new players or returning players?
Well, definitely one player, a returning player, Brett Jordan. He was an All-American last year as a pitcher. I believe he was 7-0. So should be exciting how he shows this year.
All right. To the viewers out there, how could you join club baseball, or is there a website or anything?
We have our website. You can just search BG Club Baseball on Google, and we usually have tryouts in the fall, early 5 weeks into the semester, and that's how you make the team.
All right. Well, that is all we have time for today. I would like to thank our guests for joining us today. And now I'm going to toss it over to Katie, who will have our fun fact of the day. Katie?
Gary. Now for your fun fact of the day, U.S. men's hockey coach Dan Bilesma started his career right here in Bowling Green. Graduating in 1992, Bilesma recorded 37 goals and 50 assists for the Falcons. He made his NHL debut in 1996 with the Kings and played for 9 years. Bilesma now coaches the Penguins and is the fastest NHL coach to tally 200 wins. He also went on to win the Stanley Cup in 2009. I mean, it's always good to see some Falcon love on the national stage. And good luck to Bilesma and the entire U.S. men's hockey team as they look to go for gold. And that is your fun fact for the day. When we come back, we'll take an inside look at curling and go over the week of Olympics in BG sports. Stay with us.
More than 100 curlers have already taken the ice for this year's Winter Olympics in Sochi. Reporter Hannah Hilliard says just as many curlers are playing right here in Bowling Green every week.
But on ice, the Bowling Green Curling Club gets together 3 times a week to play. Curler Becky Mancuso says it's a sport that anyone can play.
It's a sport that women and men play together, and people of all ages play together. So you can have a team with somebody who is 17, 16, and somebody who's 80.
But at any age, the goal is to get your team's stones closer to the center of the target. A player slides a stone across the ice towards that target.
Curlers use brooms to manipulate the curl of the stone. Plus, it creates friction on the ice to make the stones go further.
Ed Glowacki has been a member of the club for more than 30 years. He says another basic rule of curling is sportsmanship.
It's a gentleman's game. There is honor involved. There's no back talking on the game. There's no trashing. You want to win at all costs, but you never want to humiliate your opponent.
With or without trash talking, the team with the most points at the end of 8 rounds wins the game. Reporting for BG24 Sports, I'm Hannah Hilliard.
Well, the United States curling teams have been eliminated from the competition, but there is still plenty of curling to be played here at BG, with the semifinals for both men and women picking up on Wednesday.
Well, day 10 has wound down in Sochi, and the Olympic medal count is here. Russia sits at the top with 18, but right behind is the United States and the Netherlands, and the U.S. is still second. But now that is all the time we have for today, guys. When we come back next week, we'll have more Olympic talk. It'll mean the Olympics will be over, but we can still talk about them. So until next Monday, I'm Katie Warnke.
And I'm Adam King.
Have a good night, everybody.